Hi guys! If you've watched any of my other videos, you know this is all wrong. I usually film at a desk in my bedroom. Well, this is my new bedroom, and this is my partner. Okay, so today we're going to be talking about The Witching Hour. This was meant to be the October 2019 book review, but it took me all of October and then November and then December to finish. And now we're going to talk about a book that I read a very, very long time ago.
I hope you remember it.
I don't. So it should be great.
It's about a girl.
It is about a girl, actually. There's a girl and a guy.
And?
Okay, so it starts with this really impressive neurosurgeon called Rowan. And
How old is this neurosurgeon?
I don't know. She's like 20, 30.
A 20-year-old neurosurgeon.
30 maybe? I don't know. She's really, really, really smart.
Okay.
And she is doing that surgery. And she like heals a guy. Like she like touches him and can feel like all the parts of him that are like broken
in his brain.
Yeah, she's like puts her hand over him, kind of like a sensor, or like
she fixed brain.
What you're getting, like a sonogram, but it's her hand.
Okay. So right off the bat, the book is like kind of mystical.
Yeah, I mean, no, it's called The Witching Hour. It's about witches.
But does she know?
It's by Anne Rice.
Okay.
I forgot to. It's by Anne Rice.
The author of the Vampire Diaries.
No, author of. Lestat. Well, it is vampires. I just forget. What are they called?
Interview
with the Vampire, but she does like a whole series and stuff. She was adopted and taken away from her birth mother, but she kept the name, and the last name is Mayfair. So she's Rowan Mayfair. She's a really cool neurosurgeon who has healing powers. That's how it starts.
Okay.
And then there's this other guy named Michael. You get like a whole, I'm gonna say 50 to 100 pages on like his backstory and how he grew up, you know, poor. His mother was like from a wealthier family, and his dad kind of tricked her into marrying him, but they kind of loved each other anyway, but there was like a huge amount of resentment. Mm-hmm. Then he got like glimpses throughout his whole childhood of what it would be like to be sort of wealthier, more refined, you know, that kind of life. But he sort of struggled with those two identities throughout most of his life. And then his dad passed away when he was like teenager, maybe? I don't know. At the point his dad dies. And his mom's like, cool, I can finally get out of here. So she goes back, takes him to California, and he becomes like an architect. So Rowan and Michael meet once when he almost drowns, and she saves him. And then they split up, and they don't see each other for a long time. They don't really know each other. She just saved him once, and then she went off to do her own thing, and he went off to do his own thing. So he actually got a power to touch things and sort of get impressions of that one particular thing. There's a word for it in the book, and I've forgotten the word. But like whenever he touched something, he saw the history of that item.
Is it clairvoyance?
I don't know.
Oh.
I could probably look it up in the book, but I don't want to.
So he has object empathy. So he can touch objects and like get a feeling for what they are.
Yeah, but he doesn't have any control over it, especially in the beginning of the book. So he just gets like, if he picks up a pen, it's like he sees like the last person pick up the pen and then they put down. It's like there's nothing meaningful that he can get out of the images till he can hone the power.
Okay.
So he's got that. He's going slightly insane because he doesn't know what to do with it. And then he started putting on gloves and then just sort of drinking himself into oblivion. He's doing that. Rowan is doing her own thing, and he's searching for Rowan, trying to get a hold of her. And she's like passively thinking about him, but not, you know, trying to be isolated and sort of left alone. Mm-hmm. So eventually their paths converge. He finds her, and like she goes and meets him, and as in any like story, gothic romancy kind of thing, they fall in love almost immediately upon meeting each other, and they have sex. I think they have sex.
The first night they meet?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she takes him back to her. Maybe not the first night, but very soon they have sex.
Okay.
And they're like a thing, and he's like, I'm gonna go back to New Orleans at some point. she gets word that her biological mother has passed away and that her biological mother lives in New Orleans. So now she can go to New Orleans. Or rather, she decides to go to New Orleans.
Because
she has a reason to go
because
now.
her real mom takes precedent over
her dead mom's dying wish. Well, it's kind of messed up because, like, the Mayfair family is hundreds of people. And she only had her adopted mother and her adopted father, and they're both dead. At some point, Michael meets the Talamasca, which is like this huge organization that spans through and almost all of Anne Rice's books. And they study the supernatural. And their whole motto is observe, but don't get involved.
So Anne Rice's books, like, they have vampires, witches, it's all like a part of one connected universe?
Yes, and this group studies them. So, like, you'll see, the books are about, like, the different individuals, whether it be witches or vampires or whatever. Even a mummy. There's that mummy book that I love so much.
I remember that.
Oh my god. I gotta do a book review on the mummy. I love it so. I've read it like 3 times. So, for whatever reason, Michael hooks up for the Talamasca. I cannot remember for the life of me why he decides to go back to New Orleans. I think he just kind of misses it. So he hooks up with the Talamasca. Anyway, this guy introduces him to the history of the Mayfair family when he finds out about his connection to Rowan. Introduces Michael to the Mayfair family. He gives him this, like, huge file, and from that point on, that's the book. It's not, Rowan and Michael don't matter for a very long time. It's all about the Mayfair family.
And their history.
And their history.
Okay.
So this book is really, it's like, you know that, like, those 2 pages when you're reading, like, a historical book where they're like, son of Jacob, son of so-and-so, son of that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, like, really, for me, it's, like, really hard to read, and I'm like, come on. It's, like, a more, very detailed version of that, and it spans most of the book. So you start with...
So she actually tried to mimic a historical...
I mean, she did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Like, I feel the tedium sometimes that I would feel when reading a historical text. So they get into the Mayfair family's history with this creature called... I don't know. They call him the Man. I forget his name. I'm not very helpful. But they have this, like, ghost dude that one member of the Mayfair family brought into existence. But she was, like, kind of dumb because she saw this book on demons and she was like, I'm going to summon a demon. But she didn't fully understand what that entailed or what that meant. So she, like, summons this creature into being, and it's not... There's a lot of ambiguity about whether or not this is a demon or if it's just, like, a collection of energy, like, what exactly its intent is, if it's good or if it's evil. There's a lot of ambiguity there. Like, in fact, Michael... Oh, that's why he went back to New Orleans. When he died, he had this prophetic dream telling him to go back to New Orleans.
When Rowan saved him?
Yeah. Right before he went back in his body, Mayfair ancestors came to him and said, you have to go back to New Orleans.
Does Anne Rice have, like, strict morality in her book?
This one is very ambiguous.
Okay.
Well, yes and no. It frames this creature as, like, it's just a force, and, like, whether it seems to have malintent, but, like, whether or not the forces that, like, summon these things is good or evil is kind of left up to the person.
Or it's like its morals aren't our own, and it's just, like, complete, like...
It's I mean, there's a moment where it kind of goes, I've foreseen this. Like, it's already, like, hundreds of thousands of years ahead of, like...
Everyone else.
Yeah, it bred the entire Mayfair family. It probably, like, intentionally helped incest and, like, made sure that the family, like, kept their ability to practice magic alive, and, like, the potency of that. It failed for a while. Like, as you go on, the strain gets weaker and weaker. Even with the incest, the Mayfair family loses their ability to be magical, and you get people with more, like, touches. So, like, you know, Vampire the Masquerade, like, if it goes farther and farther away from the original vampire, you get weaker and weaker and weaker. That was kind of how it was.
Everybody steals from that.
Well, I don't think she stole from it.
I was going to say, because they have a mummy line. The Mayfair family has just been a tool for this guy.
They're connected.
Okay.
So, like, he needs them, they need him, but he's, like, manipulating the family. Okay. It's sort of like it's symbiotic, but not really.
Parasitic?
I don't know. A couple of the Mayfair witches use him to accumulate great wealth. They have this thing called, like, their pocketbook, where they give out money, and the money always comes back to them. So when they give out the money, they're like, spend it right now. spend it really fast because by the end of the night, it goes right back in their pocket. But you can use him beneficially, and that's why the family's so wealthy. But for the most part, he is not great.
Not good.
No.
Short-term good.
He will do
long-term bad.
Because he has free will. He'll act in such a way that he thinks is beneficial. So
Yeah.
a lot of the Mayfair women have been driven insane. One of the women that's featured the most, Rowan's mother, is totally paralyzed, and he, from what is explained, he has her like sort of locked in this mental thing so that she's not aware that she's sort of stuck in her own body, and he's sort of giving her this beautiful.
Oh, he's got like a simulation for her.
Yes.
Okay.
But she passes away, and he goes to Rowan. So he goes down the line to specific, almost always women, with the exception of one man.
Do women have more magic ability in this?
They have pretty much all the ability, except for one, with the exception of one man in the family line.
Gotcha.
If any man or woman marries outside of the family, they need to keep their name, or they don't get anything from the family. So we go through the entire Mayfair family history, and then we finally get back to Michael and Rowan. Now, throughout this, they're kind of like, I miss you, I'm trying to get to you, that kind of stuff. He's with the Talamasca. The Talamasca guy's like, you can't see her until you read all this stuff so you know what's going on. Michael finally gets up to speed. Rowan gets up to speed. She reads her entire family log, but I think that's way later. And so they're together, and for a while, they're kind of like, F this, let's do our own thing. Like, I don't care about destiny, I don't care if we were sort of forced together, I just want to be with you and I love you and blah, blah, blah. Rowan's pregnant because they had sex that one time. I think they have sex a couple of times. But, she gets pregnant, they have a baby. You sit there and read about their lives and, like, them cleaning out the house and like having some supernatural experiences and overcoming all this and sort of making everything beautiful, restoring everything. Finally, you get the climax of the book, which is really well done, and I'm not going to do it justice, and I'm sorry. While Rowan's pregnant, she keeps having dreams of putting a person together.
Okay.
You can probably see where this is going. So Michael is out of town. I don't know where he is. I don't know what he's doing. She's alone. The thing comes to her. It's been like appearing to her, and it's been kind of trying to seduce her, and she's been fighting it and not fighting it, but appeals to her on like a sensual level and an intellectual level, because she can manipulate matter. Like that's how she can make life. She can see, because she's a surgeon, she knows the structure of things, and she's putting and sewing people together. Like that's how she's healing.
When did that pop in?
Oh, it's been there the whole time. Like that's why she's able to like heal people. Well, because she can visualize them getting better. So she's actually healing them by.
So she's taking her power to the next level by making something that didn't have anything to begin with.
Yes, he had no body, and she's like, She's like, well, why didn't you enter any human being? And it like explains that he wants the perfect vessel. So.
Okay.
She. I don't even know how to explain it. He pops into her body, and she gives birth to a full-grown baby man.
And she's okay.
She is really messed up about it, but she kind of gets over it.
No, I mean like she gives birth to a full-grown man.
I don't know if he grows when he comes out, or if I don't know how it works. I think like it pops out and then it becomes
like those things you put in water.
Yes. It's the air. Just, so she helps him.
Okay.
And she leaves Michael behind in the house. Actually, she helps him. They're trying to get out of the house as quickly as possible. Michael comes home just in time to get his ass beat by that guy.
Why?
Even though he's human now, he still has most of his power. So Michael's like, what are you doing with my wife? Love? No. And
who starts it?
I think they both kind of do. the guy's like, I'm sure he's been like dying to beat the crap out of Michael because as far as he's concerned, Michael's just breeding. He's given him what
he needed.
Yeah, so Michael's useless.
Mm.
He does beat Michael almost to death, and while he's dying, he sees the Mayfair family, and they're like, "Thanks, man." And he thinks his explanation of the event. There are two explanations of the event. His is that it was the creature messing with him and giving him a vision. But I don't know if the creature has the ability to do that once he's in human form. Like, he has enhanced strength, but it's not confirmed whether or not he can like give you a vision. Mm-hmm. I think that the Mayfair ghosts actually like were a part of manipulating the situation. And part of that is because they explain when he's like sort of in this state that now that he has crossed the threshold, they can start crossing the threshold. And Rowan can just keep making things or helping them come back.
So she can give ghost bodies?
Yes.
Okay.
She's a very valuable resource. I don't know how that's going to work logistically if she has to keep birthing them. Mm-hmm. But so Michael kind of ends up at that house sort of waiting for Rowan indefinitely.
After getting his ass beat.
Yeah. He just sort of stays there like a ghost, and they talk about how he like has taken the man's place, and he's just kind of waiting for Rowan to come back.
But he's not dead.
He's not dead. He's alive.
Okay. And he doesn't have immortal power, so eventually he'll die.
He actually lost his ability to
sense things.
Yeah, he lost everything. He's just in the house now.
And that's how it ends?
Yeah.
And she's just chilling in the house?
No, she left. She's traveling abroad with her baby man and probably having sex with him, I would imagine.
Oh, there was like a romantic thing between the two?
I mean, the whole part of like that creature is that it seduces you. Like it can make itself like material long enough to have intercourse. Mm-hmm. So it like raped her when she was sleeping on a plane.
And she's like, I'm gonna hook up with this thing now?
I think it's like unlimited power. So yeah. Huh. She also has a crap ton of money now. Her family's outrageously rich, and any person in the Mayfair line who has the man gets the money.
Do you think this is actually the autobiography of Anne Rice?
It would explain her conflicted feelings towards the church for sure. The shortest way to describe this book is frustration and anticipation.
So how would they turn it into a Netflix movie or series?
You just do a different member of the family every episode and like intersperse it with like Rowan and Michael sort of reaching each other. And you could even like expand on that and like make it a whole series of the Talamasca and then lead into the vampire thing. It's like they're sitting on like a huge money pit. Like maybe it's just Anne Rice. Maybe she's like, nah, don't make my stuff a movie. But she did interview with a vampire, and she let what's it called?
That did really well too, right?
Queen of the Damned though was a huge flop.
That was awful.
Yeah, well, one of the lead actresses died. Like they had to like scramble to make it end.
Because the movie was so bad.
No, she died in a plane crash.
Who?
Aaliyah? What was her name? I think I could be wrong.
R. Kelly's.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so.
Because she died in a plane crash.
Ooh.
We're going to take a commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. While she Googles this. Yeah, that's Aaliyah.
Oh no!
Wait, Aaliyah was in that movie?
Yeah.
R. Kelly's child bride. Well, it seems like a really interesting book. The way you described it, I'm just more fascinated with the author.
I feel like I did some research on her. I don't know if it was in college or high school. Mm-hmm. And like, she's an interesting woman. I just don't know enough about her to like talk about Anne Rice like candidly and like casually. So I don't want to, but
yeah, because every time we've talked about a couple of her books in the past, and it just seems like every book is very personal, and like she's not just writing for, you know, an audience or like a paycheck. She's like, they seem like almost therapeutic in a way.
Yeah, she's kind of like, she's writing these stories about fictionalized characters, but she's also coming to terms with like ideas that she's not quite sure about. Well, that's it. If you'd like to talk to me about what I got wrong in that review, how many names I forgot, how many important plot points I did not include, feel free to leave a comment. And if you'd like to see us do more book talks together, tell me. And what do you want to say goodbye?
I think reading is bad, and people shouldn't do it.